not see that coming at all. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You know, I never thought I would fall in love when Assassin's Creed came again. I didn't think I would. So I wanted to make this video because the video is I love Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It feels like an Assassin's Creed game to me. So I want to talk to you and tell you why and kind of just hear me out because I was one of the people that initially when Assassin's Creed Valhalla was announced that I was ragging on it, man. I was talking crap. I'm like, it's about Vikings. It's not even about assassins anymore. It hasn't been assassins for a long time. I was one of those guys because if I go through the last couple games, Origins and Odyssey, now those aren't bad games per se. They're not. I mean, I always viewed them as kind of like Witcher 3 wannabes, but they're still solid games. The thing is they weren't for me. I tried so hard to get into them, and like it's not like I just played them for a little bit and gave up. No, I actually really put in time and effort. Both Origins, I put in a good amount of time, and on Odyssey, I put even more time in. But through my journey of both Odyssey and Origins, it always felt like it was an obligation, and the open world was so big and vast, and there was so much fluff in the world for me. It was just it was for me. It was I couldn't get into it. So they announced Valhalla, and I was talking crap. I'm like, it's about Vikings, man. It's not. It hasn't been assassins, but I tried it out anyway. I got Valhalla, and I think I'm about 30 hours in, and it feels more like an Assassin's Creed game than I ever thought it would. I mean, it's still got the premise about Vikings, but it does it has the essence of Assassin's Creed for me. I'm not sure it's the same for everyone, but I'll tell you why. Because the premise of the game and the way you progress and with the characters and everything, for me, it feels like the perfect combination of Assassin's Creed 3 and the newer games like Origins, Odyssey. Their game mechanics, and they mushed them together, and it was this beautiful concoction of an Assassin's Creed game. So it's got like the elements, certain elements from previously old games, and still kind of those new gameplay mechanics that are more RPG-ish. But it feels like in Valhalla, the RPG elements have been scaled back a little bit because I'm not as I'm playing through the game. It doesn't feel like a task. I don't feel like I have to grind and grind and grind to keep moving forward. For me, the game found this perfect balance. So, yeah. So as far as elements go, is like with Assassin's Creed, for me, everything feels rewarding in the game. Everything. Like in Odyssey and Origins, they had so much fluff, open world fillers. And for me with Valhalla, with the open world, it doesn't feel like that. Everything felt like everything was rewarding. So the way they have it, kind of chopped up between like mysteries and wealth and I forgot artifacts collecting things. Every single one of those things felt rewarding, and everything felt different in this open world. With Odyssey and Origins, it kind of felt like rinse and repeat. Everything was rinse and repeat. But with Valhalla, there's a variation in gameplay. Like a good example is in the beginning of when you're in the first open part of the map in Norway. Just a small example of one of the characters you come across that's just a side quest. He has you throw a bunch of these crates off the side of a cliff because he wants to get rid of them, and then he jumps off. And I just thought that was funny. But the variation of gameplay of all those side quests in comparison to the main story, like it's fantastic. For me, it doesn't get stale. It doesn't get boring. And as far as the open world elements go, I think it's perfect, man. And this is why it kind of brings me back to Assassin's Creed 3, and this is why I make the comparison. Because as you progress into England and you setting up your settlement, that area of like having to rebuild your settlement reminds me of Assassin's Creed 3 Homestead. Remember the Homestead missions in Assassin's Creed 3? You're in the area and you start helping people and rescuing people, and then they could come, and it keeps growing. So me, it has that feeling. And as far as like progression goes, like for me, the story just kind of just keeps going. Even if I get sidetracked with mysteries and side stuff, just the pacing of Valhalla is perfect. It is absolutely perfect, and it completely warps me in. And they have the whole element of assassins that are with you in your camp, and I feel it. I feel the Assassin's Creed esque. Like, and the game has raids and stuff where you could go crazy and all that, but it still has like, I don't know what it is, but the stealth in this game is it totally feels like Assassin's Creed. Not to mention, I forgot how they describe it. The social stealth, blending in with the crowd and sitting and blending in on park benches and stuff like that. Like, it's fantastic. And you can always have the choice of not playing that way and doing it a different way. But for me, the stealth feels just absolutely rewarding. The story is absolutely rewarding. I love the story. I love the story. I love my character. I love all the side characters. Like, no one gets on my nerves, and just the way that the game progresses. I'm still not done with the game. Story wise, my progression is like at 20% right now. But that's because I sometimes get so lost doing the side stuff and all that, and just so you can kind of build up your character a little bit more. But the skill tree is fantastic too. I love how the skill tree is like a mystery, and then as you find things you want, and it's like a spider web that keeps just going out, and yeah, that is absolutely fantastic as well. So Valhalla made me fall in love with Assassin's Creed again because it feels like Assassin's Creed, even with like the raids and stuff that they have, which I love, by the way. I totally dig raids. Those are so much fun. But even with like those, like the fact that you're a Viking, like I still feel like my character and the way that I play him through the story, it feels like an Assassin's Creed. And it has all these cool areas that you can find out that has like like there are references to the assassins, and you can have you have the option of putting on the cloak, taking off the cloak, and all that. And dude, it's fantastic. And not to mention the graphics, because I'm playing on the Series X, and the game, it spoils me, man, because then I go play other games, and sometimes the graphics don't hold up. So I'm here to apologize for all the crap I talked about with Assassin's Creed Valhalla before it even released, because I was one of those people. I was like bragging about Ghost of Tsushima and how that's more of an Assassin's Creed game, and I still love that game too. But man, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it is an Assassin's game. It really is. So way more than Odyssey or Origins, hands down. That's my opinion though. Other people could disagree with me on it, and I could hear you out. Like, let me know in the comments. Let me know why I'm wrong, and I don't mind. We can have a conversation, just have fun with this. But I'm just saying, I haven't had this much fun on Assassin's Creed game since Assassin's Creed Syndicate. That was, for me, that was like the last Assassin's Creed game. And after that, I was like, I tried and I tried and I couldn't get into it. And I gave this one a chance, and I'm glad I did, because I was warped in, man. And another good topic. The thing I love about this is that they brought back like that cinematic feel. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, as far as like cutscenes go and everything has a. It's not like a boring, like in Odyssey and Origins. Like, everything was like, you have a few cool like real cinematic cutscenes, but then throughout the entire game, as you're talking to people, it's just the camera here, that person talks, and then like, and especially Odyssey, he's always talking and he just crosses his arms and goes back, and it's just stationary. It's very stagnant. It's very boring. And in Valhalla, they brought back cinematics, man. Like there's different camera angles, cuts, and all that. And even when it's just your character standing there talking, and you could pan the camera around. I don't know if everyone notices, but if you like just slowly pan the camera around while they're having conversation, the camera even has like a dramatic effect. Kind of, it's not just boring. So that's another element that made me fall back in love with it, because all the original trilogy, Connor AC3, Black Flag, all those, they had cinematic elements to it. And for me, Origins and Odyssey kind of scaled that back a little bit in favor of being more just RPG driven. And for me, Valhalla, and that's why I referenced that it's Assassin's Creed 3 and like Origins Odyssey put together, because it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. They found the perfect balance. They found great characters. They got a great story. It took them a long time, but I feel like they're back, and I'm loving it. The game, I can't stop playing it, and yeah, it's a great time. So anyone else out there agree, disagree? I totally get it, but yeah, man, that's why I love me some Assassin's Creed. It's just it's so beautiful, so beautiful. Did not see that coming at all. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I love you. All right, guys. Have a good one. Bye.